Okay, so good afternoon. I'm Millie Garcia Serrano, serving as the Acting Executive Director of the LSP Board. And as always, the board encourages interactive participation. To that end, I always encourage folks to turn your camera on if you are online. And also please ensure that your cell phones are on silence mode. So I will proceed with a roll call to establish who from the board is participating in today's meetings and also to confirm the quorum. Please say here or present when I call your name. David Austin.
Yes.
Kathleen Campbell. Not present. Greg McBride. Okay, not present. Paul McKinley.
And present.
Craig Ellis.
Here.
Gail Batchelder. Kirk Franklin.
Here.
Patrick Heron.
Present.
Jamie Smith.
Present.
Okay, so we have 6 board members. We are confirming quorum. Thank you. So Chris, also in addition to all the board members, why don't we introduce ourselves for folks? We'll start with Diane.
Diane Baxter, Director of the Division of Federal Grant Programs within Wayside Cleanup.
Natasha, I am the Program Coordinator for LSP Board.
Matt Line, investigator, continuing ed coordinator for the LSP Board.
Chris Borges, basically IT for the LSP Board.
And
Craig Ellis, LSP Board member of the LSP slot.
James Smith, LSP Board, Labor Slot.
David Austin, LSP Board.
Patrick Heron, LSP Board.
Paul McKinley, LSP Board.
great. And now we'll go to online. Chris, if you'd be so kind as to introduce the members that are online today.
Kirk Franklin is online. Nancy Fitzpatrick and Tina Smith. And then we have attendees, Krista Trapp, Nate Gardner, and Sean Denis.
Great. Okay. With that, why don't we move on with the Continuing Education Committee? At this time, I'd like to turn it over to David Austin.
Sure, starting the meeting at 12:04. I also just want to note I may not be able to stay the entire meeting, depending on how long it goes on for. I also just want to say thanks to the LSP board staff. It's been great having you guys, doing a great job.
Thank you.
Things are a lot easier. So thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything we have to talk about before new business.
Okay, any additions, deletions to the agenda? Nothing that needs to be changed?
So
All
there's
right,
four-
take it away.
There's 4 course approval requests. The first one I'm recused from because I helped put it on, so you guys can discuss it, and I can do the roll call.
Okay. All right, who wants to talk about is this the PFAS treatment and stabilization? Is that the one?
Yeah, EBC put it on. It's
Okay.
passed. It was done.
Okay, so that's done.
2 technical credits.
Any comments?
Meets the threshold for technical credits. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion from the public or board? Yes is approving. I'm a recused. Paul? Yes. Craig?
Yes.
Kirk? Patrick?
Yes.
And Jamie?
Yes.
Great, so that's approved. The next course,
Oh,
6.
with you recusing, do we have the amount of people for voting?
Well, it's the full board that actually votes on the recommendations. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think you can advance it and then we'll have to figure out
this is just a committee.
at the board
so-
meeting.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Mhm. So,
Got it.
Well, hopefully someone else joins us.
Yeah, exactly.
Fine,
fine.
Yeah.
I mean, this might be the only one that's effective if you're not recusing yourself from the other ones, but,
No.
okay.
So the next one is the 2.5 DEP regulatory credit on RGP's workshop being offered 4 different times. And it's in person. I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussions from the board or public? So a yes is approving the course for 2.5 credits. David's a yes. Paul?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Kirk?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And Jamie?
Yes.
That course is approved. And then the third approval request is an existing course, 1164. And it looks like there's a change in course instructor and a change in the course content that seemed minor to me. So I think we would just approve the change
Mhm.
and keep the same number.
Yeah, I mean, they've been offering this course every couple of years. I think we're up to letter D.
Right.
So let's do 1164D for this course.
So I make a motion to approve it with the changes.
Second.
Any discussion from the public or board? Yes is approving. David's a yes. Paul?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Kirk?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And Jamie?
Yes.
Hi, Gail.
So we're noting for the public that Gail Batchelder, one of the board members, has arrived. Thank you, Gail. Okay.
And the last request is enviro workshops, basics of biogeochemistry, base remediation, 2 technical spreads. It wasn't a webinar in on-demand formats, and it wasn't in their first submittal about polling questions and on-demand assessment forms or learning, but Matt followed up and they agreed to all of that in an email. So that's
That's
satisfying.
correct, yep.
Okay. So I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion from the public?
I just have a general question. Can you describe for me biogeochemistry, how that ties in? Just for the purposes of understanding the context and
I
subject
don't have
matter
the
expertise.
course outline in front of me. So I don't recall.
Just a remedial techniques.
Yeah, I mean, it's geochemistry, but all the bugs and everything that they use makes biogeochemistry.
Okay, thank you.
Makes sense.
All right. So you were in the process of doing a roll call.
Yeah, a yes is approval on yes. Paul?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Kirk?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
That's the end of the new courses request, and the next meeting will be in November. Location to be.
Yeah, actually, do you mind going back to the PFAS treatment now that Gail is here so that you can get her ready for a decision to move forward in advance at the board meeting for approval?
So I was recused, but the board approved
Yes.
first offering request, and then the DEP, of course, and then we approved the wetlands.
Yes. I was good with all of that.
Okay, thank you.
Folks, this is Greg. I'm here also now.
Hi, Greg.
Hello.
Thank
Chris, I
you.
was not able to join using the prompt that comes through Outlook. I had to go back to your original email. Just not that that matters, but it seems to have happened before.
Okay, it's good to know. Thanks for the feedback, Greg.
And I apologize I'm not there because I'm an advocate of being in person, but I couldn't do it today.
No worries. We appreciate that. Okay, so Matt, if you don't mind, just kind of reminding the board about.
Oh, yeah, so all the courses will be updated on the website. Give us about a week We'll send out the attendance forms and then we'll get the course listing updated for the folks at home that want to attend the courses.
Okay, great. So future meeting, just before we skip. There's a few little kinks that we want to address, with regards to making sure that the mute, unmute, and all that is working well, the recording, et cetera. So I think in January, we're gonna have like full board, online folks will be able to speak, and be a little bit more easier, robust, right? So,
Hopefully.
yeah, so we'll go ahead and finish out the year with GoToWebinar.
So
Okay.
is November a hybrid?
So we would like
Or is
to
that not decided yet?
hold a meeting complete and in a way that's chronologically ordered. And, we're just going to start assembling everything so that the person can come in and just ground running. And also need be ensured that as part of the onboarding, we have OGC staff available to assist also. So that's been something that's at play to ensure that we have continuity in moving these cases forward.
Okay.
Okay. I think that's it, Jamie.
Okay.
The board to you.
And we don't have any new business?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I don't think there's any other action that this committee needs to take. So we'll adjourn until the November 14th meeting.
Okay. So you'd like to adjourn at
12:18.
12:18. All right, so good afternoon. I'd like to call this board meeting to order at 12:19 p.m. And I'm calling this meeting in a facilitator role, not as a member of the board with any voting powers. I want to make sure that that's clear. With regards to announcements, at 1 o'clock, we look forward to having Undersecretary Stephanie Cooper. She will be here. Hopefully, y'all can stick around. I know that EEA is very excited to join in and at least, say hello. And now that we know that this board is directly reporting to EEA, it's wonderful to have Undersecretary representing the Secretary of Energy and Environmental Affairs. So she'll be here at 1 o'clock. However, we wanted to introduce Jonah. Now the question becomes whether she's coming in at 1, so maybe we can do some of the board meeting matters, and then we can have Jonah come in whenever she's ready. Jonah, as you know, is the ASILA team leader, and she wanted to give us a sense of where we are with transitioning from paper to online. So I don't know if you want to email her, Matt, or.
She's not on, is she?
She is on.
Maybe she
Oh,
can
she
speak
is
now.
on, so maybe she can give us a report. And we wanted to talk a little bit about the online portal, the initial rollout, the status of the account setups, issues, and so on and so forth. So Jonah, if you want to take it away, that would be wonderful.
She's self-muted, so she might not be at her computer, maybe.
Okay.
She is logged on though.
Okay. All right, so shall we continue then?
Yeah, and circle back with her.
Yeah, that's great.
One.
If you want to maybe just send her a little chat, Chris, that we're ready for her whenever she is. So agenda, any additions, deletions, changes to the draft agenda? And if none, then I'd like to hear a motion for its adoption.
So moved.
Okay. Virtual meeting minutes, recordings as stated, September 12, 2023 was our regular meeting, and then we needed to get together again due to a matter that warranted full board vote. So we met on September 19, 2023. Those 2 recordings are currently available, so you can go onto the LSP board webpage and they're there. Why don't we move onto the renewal dockets? Thank you so much. And today we have to move forward with decisions regarding licensing of applicants. The first is the vote on renewal dockets and refer to the renewal dockets for this meeting. So we have 5 of them.
I make a motion to approve docket number 1.
Okay. So let me just take the wheel here. So folks, the other online know this is a docket. Renewal docket number 1 addresses 6 LSPs. New renewal date would be October 30, 2026. and they've completed the requirements. So I need a motion.
Motion to approve
Second.
docket 1.
Okay.
All in favor? Okay. David,
Yes?
Kathy, not present, Greg,
Yes.
okay, Paul,
Yes.
okay, Craig,
Yes.
got it, Gail,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
and Jamie.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. The motion carries. Renewal docket number 2. Basically, this is one LSP and new renewal date, April 30, 2026, has completed all the requirements for renewal. So, David?
This is the person that had to get the DEP credit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so his
Yeah.
license had stayed while we were reviewing his petition. He was originally an October 30th renewal.
Motion to approve docket number 2.
Second.
Second.
Okay, so David,
Yes?
Kathy, oh, she's not present. Okay, Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Gail,
Okay, yes.
and Kirk.
Yes.
Patrick
Yes.
and Jamie.
Yes.
Okay, great. Motion carries. Docket number 3. This is one LSP with a new renewal date of October 30, 2026, and has completed all requirements for renewal. This is LSP 1510.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Okay, David,
Yes?
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Motion carries. Docket number 4. This is a group of 3 LSPs with a new renewal date of July 30, 2026, and they have all completed the requirements for renewal.
Motion to approve.
Yeah, second somewhere?
Second.
Okay. David,
Yes?
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
and Jamie.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Docket number 5. This is a group, actually it's one LSP that has a new renewal date, January 30, 2024. And this LSP has requested a 90-day extension.
Motion to approve.
Second?
Okay. David,
Yes?
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. And that's it. Okay,
Jonah is online and she's ready to present.
okay, great. I just want to express my appreciation to the LSP board team. Matt and Natasha really worked very hard to ensure that these LSPs that are on this docket actually were provided with the full opportunity to make sure that they were part of this grouping. So thank you very much for your hard work. Really appreciate
And
it.
actually, they were the first group that did everything online with the new portal. And it's a few
Yeah.
glitches here and there, but I think it was pretty smooth. I think as everyone, the LSPs in the room go through it, it's not exactly the same as before. But we've been helping them out one by one if they have issues that come up with doing the application.
They were all online or just October 30th ones?
Yeah, they were all 11 or so. Yeah, they were all online, submitted their applications online. That's the only way we really accept them now.
Right, yeah.
We're encouraged anyway.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah. You guys were really, truly the ambassadors of the ACLS. So on that cue, we're going to turn it over to Ms. Jonah Cucci, who's going to give us a report back on Stories from Asila. So take it
Okay.
away, Jonah. Thank you so much
Thanks.
for taking time.
Of course. Good afternoon, everyone. So I just wanted to provide an update, from the last board meeting of what's been going on and we've been doing and working so close with the LSP staff. In regards to LSP's linking into the new system, we are at 65% already linked, so that's a pretty good number. We have 168 that have not linked yet, so we are sending reminders weekly. So we have, automatically done that. So every week they get a reminder, once they get that, we see a handful of people that keep doing them. So that's a good sign. So we're at 65% this. Where last month I think we were at 25%. So I think that's a pretty good, number. So as Matt was saying, yes, the renewals were done online for this cycle, and they seem to be gone pretty well. We did have also 2 new applications for LSP that came through the system, so that went smooth. So that was a good thing to see. We did do the new exam through the online portal as well, just coming up the first week of November. We have 9 people currently waiting to take the exam, and then whoever gets approved from this board meeting, then we'll add them as well to the exam list waiting to take it. And so also we do have 16 people that will expire at the end of October that have not yet linked. So what we're going to do with those people, our team is going to start a phone call journey to call each and every one and let them know, and we're just going to help them through the linking process. So then, if they would like to renew, they can renew. So that's the next step we're doing since we're getting close to the October 30th deadline. So we have that in the plans as well. So that's kind of, that's pretty much what's going on currently. We're working with Matt and Natasha and Millie. We meet weekly on updates, what's going on. So we're working really close to make sure transition is smooth. And so far it's working pretty well. So any questions or anything else, maybe Millie, you would like me to address?
I think board members, you should be just apprised that there's the feedback that I'm getting is that there are a lot of emails that are coming for those individuals that are licensed professionals. So just be patient. We're trying to get as many emails out there as possible so that we can get everybody on the same page. But from my purview, I'd rather send out emails than not sending them at all. So I don't know if you've heard any additional feedback.
Well, just in terms of getting the word out, the LSPA put on their website a banner indicating for LSP to join the online account and link. If you know of anybody who's an LSP who hasn't linked yet, please remind them in your business world. We're just trying to get the word out. Everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah, we want to thank the association for doing that. Natasha, any other feedback from your purview?
The LSPs I have spoken to have really liked your online system and find it very helpful and very useful. That's been kind of the general comments I hear.
That's great. Board members, questions or feedback? Okay. All right, so Jonah, what's the next frontier with regards to types of letters or flavors of letters that will be rolling in the month of end of October?
Yeah. So like I said, the reminders for linking, they're weekly, they're scheduled every Tuesday. So I'm not sure what's going on today. The next ones will be the exam reminders are coming up. So we have, for the folks that, but everyone that was part of that, our first scheduler have signed up for it and everything. So that's a good sign. So whoever gets approved from this board meeting to take the exam for the first week, we're going to work on those reminders for those folks. So that's going to be our next step. And then reminders at the end of the month, to show up for your exam, what to show up with instructions and all of that. And then we'll continue with the labs, depending where they fall, with reminders on that as well.
Great.
Okay. Questions, board members? Questions from the public? Not sure, Chris, if there's anything in the chat.
Nope.
All right, well, Jonah, thank you so much for your commitment and assistance. We really truly appreciate all you've done to get us to this spot where we are right now.
Okay, thanks, Millie.
Thank you. We'll see you soon. See you next month.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so I'm gonna hand over the application review panel to Matt. That way you can give a full briefing to the board with regards to the application review panels. And I want to thank the board for making yourselves available on short notice. We want to ensure that, especially knowing that the exam is coming up, right? We want to make sure that we gave all of the opportunity possible, because this is going to be the last board meeting before we actually have the exam. So it was critical to try to get as many ARP meetings for the purposes of having the board members vote on this new crop of potential LSPs. So with that, Matt, if you could kindly please provide us with a report.
So ARP number 335, Jamie, Paul, and Craig were gracious enough to review 5 applications over the past couple of weeks. The first candidate, James Blackwell, the ARP met September 29th, reviewed his application. I will let one of you speak if you want about your thoughts on the
Just
application.
because we did 5, do you want to do just the quick summary of, or do you have a?
You want me to do the quick summary?
Yeah, just because I don't want to get them confused.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, so Mr. Blackwell, he was approved to take the exam. He met the requirements for RPE, TPE, good variety of projects, varying contaminants, and good references. Next candidate, John DeMille, number 0115, met on September 29th, 2003. And the ARP panel recommended that he be eligible to take the exam. Comments were that plenty of experience in MCP sites, good references that put him over the top. And since 2016, had a good transition into more senior level work and decision-making experience.
Yeah, these 2 candidates from this ARP both more than met the threshold for RPE in our judgment.
Okay. Next is Nathan Gardner, number 7147. ARP met on October 4th, 2023. The ARP agreed he's a good candidate to take the exam. Good explanations on his projects, and decision-making was good. Any other comments from the ARP members on Mr. Gardner? So he was approved to take the exam. Next one, Sean Deneen, number 6907, ARP panel met on October 4th. And the ARP panel agreed the applicant is eligible to take the exam. He had enough RPE, 3 projects were noted, but his references really put him over the top to supplement his application. And Kristen Sarson, number 4328, ARP met earlier today and recommended that the board find her eligible to take the exam. She met the minimum RPE and TPE, and her references were a plus to support her application. Okay.
So with that, Gail, or someone, board member, it sounds like we need to have a motion to approve these candidates after some discussion.
I move that we approve all of them collectively, since they're all acceptance, and we can collect, I think we can just approve all of them at one time.
Okay.
Any questions, comments?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just have a general question, a general comment, that, it's good to see how these candidates are basically hit a lot of subject matter expertise. There's a lot of diversity and variety in, their professional background. And basically that's the spirit of, I think, where the direction that the board has been wanting to go for a number of years now. So not necessarily engineering or science, but just something also in between. So it seems like that's been reflected particularly in this grouping of candidates that will be taking the exam.
And just to add, a lot of the applications were electronically submitted, so that was nice. You know, I think the system worked really well.
Yep.
Very, for us ARP members, it was easy to review. And again, the candidates, they were all, qualified to take the exam. It was nice to see as you said, Millie, the diversity, some of the good projects put forth, references. And so the whole package was really important, I guess, in our decision. So.
This is great because, we need to start thinking about the next generation of licensed ed professionals and, just the practice in general. So again, thank you very much for that. So with that, why don't we just vote?
Well, actually, there's two of the applicants are online. You can see if they have any questions, Chris.
Yeah.
The online application, it's great for the board staff to be able to review it and send it around to the ART members. But if the applicants that are online have any comments before we go to vote?
Nope.
Okay. So second, let's vote. David?
Yes.
Okay, and we're voting as a group. Greg?
Yes.
Okay, Paul?
Yes.
Okay, Craig?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Kirk?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
And Jamie?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We look forward to seeing all these applicants take the exam in early November. We'll talk about that a little bit later in this meeting. Okay, so just a short review, basically just confirmation information with regards under the other licensing related matters. Actually, Natasha, why don't you give us a report with regards to the data that we always collect regarding LSPs?
So as of this morning, we have a total number of 419 that are active, one on inactive side.
All right, and this was confirmed through a COA
Yes, and the database.
and the database. Okay, perfect. All right, moving on to item number 7, 2023 unpaid annual fees report. So as you know, we talked about this last month, and what the board decided to do, and this was really Natasha's project, and again, thank you for really working hard on this. Recall that back on December 23, 2022, we issued all the annual fee invoice letters. Those went out to the constituency, the LSPs, all the universe of LSPs. The annual fee is a $225 fee. As you know, the annual fee invoice needs to be paid by March 1st, 2023. We ended up trying to reconcile how many LSPs showed up as unpaid fee in our database. So as a result of wanting to go back and really connect with those LSPs, we ended up resending letters, those types of letters to 42 LSPs that were in that unpaid annual fee status. We did a robust outreach in issuance of annual non-payment letters, and the board received
A total of 13.
13 payments and or proof of prior payments. So that was really good. Some of them had already paid. We needed to reconcile our information. So that's great. So currently we drill down to a final 29 LSPs in unpaid annual fee status. So I think it's really important, as you all know, board members and those that are viewing this meeting proceedings, that on September 21st, by way of issuing these, knowing that there were 29 LSPs in that unpaid annual fee status, we ended up issuing notice that the board, if the board does not receive the annual fee payment owed, the board will suspend your license to practice as an LSP at the close of business on October 20, 2023, unless that particular LSP either pays the full amount owed or provides the board with documentation deemed satisfactory by the board showing that this annual fee has been paid. If the board does not receive either of these or any kind of feedback by before October 2023, your license will be suspended at the close of business 5 p.m. on October 20, 2023. And I just want to hearken to the 309 CMR 2.09, which basically talks about the annual fee in the template letter. The next step is basically the board issuing the suspension notices to this universe of LSP. So we're trying to compel action, and we've done robust outreach since December last year.
So for the 29, were they people who weren't reachable or mail got returned, or they actually?
We ended up sending a certified letter, and we received, for the most part, we've received a certified.
Yeah, so they're all found, so to
Yeah.
speak.
So, I mean,
So they're now getting a second notice,
that's right.
which is amazing.
More than they.
Thank you. That should be the last.
Yeah, it has to be. I don't think we can do anything else. And so between, Chris typically locks down the person. They cannot file any opinions.
Right,
I just think it's imperative, these 29 LSPs, just, there's that process, and it's, again, 309 CMR 2.09. That kind of spells out the path forward.
So just 29 letters went registered and all of the receipts were returned, so they received them all twice?
They're coming back in.
And they're trickling in.
Yeah, they're trickling.
But those people have not, how many of you had actually told you, had tell you that they were not going to renew?
Well,
As opposed
yeah.
to just nothing, it gets received and you don't know. It seems like if you're not going to renew, you should tell us.
Most of the times they will email back, hey, I've chosen not to renew, and I emailed them initially asking about that, so that's when they'll reply with that. So I had a few do that.
Yeah, 13, so recall the original universe was 42, 13 came back to the fold, so we have an outstanding 29 individuals that just nothing. So that's when we issued those letters. We reworked the letter a little bit, so it's a little bit more user-friendly and pointed to where this is going. And I do have a copy if any of the board members wishes to see the letter. It's around here somewhere.
And was there an email reach out as well?
Yes,
Wow.
we did email and the certified.
And phone calls.
And phone calls
And
too?
phone calls. And I think the reason for the certified is because, as you know, this is really a big deal, and we get into suspension, and, we can have an appeals process. So therefore, we want to make sure that the board covers all the bases.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Natasha, you want to talk about the unpaid, or?
Sure. So we'll start with January?
Yeah.
Okay, so for January, we had a total of 116 invoices issued. 99 have been reconciled, paid, 3 are outstanding. During that time frame, 14 chose not to renew.
Yeah, if you have a quick update, earlier, or this past week, 2 payments came in, so, our proof of payment, so we're just down to the 1 invoice outstanding for January.
And this was just now, we're just trying to reconcile,
This
but I want to
morning.
make sure this is the work of the board, so I just want to for you to know who's doing what. And again, this is with regards to the unpaid renewal fee report. So this is what we're talking about. This is January 2023. So again, to recap, January 2023, 101 LSPs paid, 1 is outstanding, 14 LSPs chose not to renew.
Correct.
Okay, do you want to talk about April?
Sure. So for April, we had a total of 20 invoices issued, 13 paid, 1 invoice is still outstanding. 4 LSPs chose not to renew, 2 invoices were submitted. But we rectified that. So a total for April, 20 invoices issued, 13 paid, 1 outstanding. 4 did not want to renew. For April, we'll go to July, no invoices were issued, but due to outreach, we contacted a total of 68 LSPs who were set to expire July 30th. Out of the 68, 57 responded by filing renewal along with payment. A total of 11 chose not to renew, 10 went into lapse status. We have 1 in active status.
Okay, so great outreach, even though invoices did not go out. Pretty much we follow up, Matt and Natasha followed up with voicemails and phone calls and.
So that's likely 28 retirements.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're coming in January. I mean, you talk to people and now that I've heard several people say they're not renewing the next time, whenever the next time.
yeah, and even like the 11 that in July that didn't renew, like half of them decided to retire, essentially. So, yeah, we're probably gonna see more of that.
Yeah, which is why we go back to making sure that the new generation steps up and really a hard sell on, let's go, we can do this, you know, we need your participation.
One of the things I talked to somebody about why they thought, you know, why they hadn't applied yet, because they had plenty of experience and everything else. But one of the things that he suggested is maybe the reason we're getting some well-qualified candidates, because we really have very well-qualified candidates lately, is because those are the people that didn't have to be an LSP because they had an LSP in the firm. And now that person has retired and now they are forced essentially to, you know, apply, but they're all qualified. I mean, the nice thing is it's easy for us to review really well-qualified applications.
Especially if they've worked under the tutelage of a good LSP.
Yeah.
So, Patrick?
Just a question, as you're talking about recruiting the next generation of LSPs, what is the demographics of the current 400 plus LSPs, out of curiosity? In other words,
yeah,
I'm looking around the table a little bit, there is a male component to the LSP and white.
We would be more than happy to run those statistics. Why don't we jot that down as homework for the November meeting? We can totally do that, like a little pie chart that basically pulls together the information.
I only ask because if this board is interested in that next generation of LSPs, it's how can we see investment or a balance of investment to promote a diverse group of LSPs? Absolutely.
But that sounds great. And we're going to get to an item which is recruitment for the open slot. So that's something we can talk about. But yeah, for sure. We will have that information for you in the board and we'll share that. I think that's good commentary with regards to the future of the board. And in fact, actually the future of the practice is really what that's going to demonstrate, where we need to, you know, whether it's having colleges, you know, just talking about the environment and how we can actually move in that direction for, you know, there's a future for you, you know, going down that route. So.
Because in the last few years, I mean, we used to have 550 LSPs and now we have 419.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. And if you consider that we're going to be losing some in January, and I'm taking the exam, but it's not going to come close to the same number that we had.
Right.
So it is appropriate probably to make that something to think about for the future.
Yeah. So one thing that we could probably ask Undersecretary Cooper when she joins at 1 o'clock is whether there's an active, for example, LinkedIn page for the board. I know Mass DEP has one, EA has one. Maybe that's something for us to talk about and think about. Using the correct media channels to bring about that interest and sort of promote what the board members do, what our mission is. So that's something that we could probably take a step further and have conversation with Undersecretary Cooper and others at EEA. And clearly your input, so we can explore that. Okay, thank you, Natasha. Appreciate it. Yeah, and to sum up, the notices of license expiration and failure to submit the renewal, they were issued to all the LSPs who failed to renew via SELA. So this letter provides guidance on the next steps should an LSP wish to come back as an active LSP. And that was the letter that we submitted on October 4th. So actually that went through SELA. Right?
Yep.
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 Okay.
And some of them, the ones from January that didn't renew, they also got the old fashioned letter, the old way. But they did get a letter last week through Acela as a second reminder.
Okay. So something that the board, well, we're gonna have to actually, number 9 is the regulatory interpretation. I think the recommendation from the board members was to stay it.
Yeah. Right, okay. This is not really a petition, but a interpretation of regulation for someone who had a lapsed license and then took coursework in 2022 to satisfy his renewal, but also wants to use the extra coursework for his next renewal that's due in 2025.
It's on hold.
And he doesn't need an answer right away.
Right, exactly.
Okay, that's table.
Okay. So before we talk a little bit about the next item, which is a petition for waiver, this is LSP number 7880. I do want to say that Matt has been doing a great job, sort of at the request of the board members, to start collating information with regards to how did the board vote on past petitions, waiver petitions. We're up to 13 cases where waiver petitions were presented, and we need to share that, right? Is that something I just have to review?
I think we should review it first before we
Yeah, just to
share
make
it.
sure, but just to let you know, there is proof, we're working on this.
Basically, I've gone back to early 2022, so the 13 petitions since January 2022, and summarizing it, and I'll go back to previous years. That's kind of.
So we'd like to build that compendium because we have, Gail, our historian is Gail, and I think,
Well, and these are there were apparently so many, I actually don't remember all the facts for all the different ones. I mean, we've had a lot of variety
Mhm.
for the kinds of waiver requests we've had, and I think that's critical. But it's interesting, I think, going back further, because I remember the older ones, because it seems like there weren't as many. And so I can remember specifics of those, and I think there are some interesting pieces to some of those older ones.
Exactly. So I think we'd like to share a final draft, but notwithstanding a draft, so that you can sort of put eyes on our interpretation of how we think we landed. We're also, I know, Matt, you've been going through some of the recordings.
That's where most of the information is look at the agenda to see if there's a petition, and then you have to listen to the recording to get the resolution.
But you have copy, this is the question, because I can go through what I've started to do for the cases. I've gone through my old, board meeting packets.
Mhm.
I think once you get beyond the recordings, then do you have all those in a logical play? I mean, I just don't know what the.
Yeah, I've saved them. Organized.
No, I mean, do the files,
The paper
Yeah.
files, yeah.
they're available.
Although
Yes.
the old paper files, yeah. I haven't looked. I
Or
haven't gone
and
down
the
that far
electronic
back
files,
yet.
but those are available.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know what
Just a matter of time. before I
that
get-
was.
Yeah. Yeah, but I figured, we can kind of start like from most recent to
Yeah.
work our way backwards. Okay, so
Okay.
with that,
I
why
have
don't
two
we?
quick questions.
Mhm.
So Wendy Rundle asked this question: will the LSP board still be sending paper certificates to LSPs who have renewed? The LSPA has gotten this question from a few LSPs who renewed in July.
Yes, so those will still go out paper.
Okay. And then Lori McCarthy asked, there are also a number of people who are not providing opinions as they work for state agencies, nonprofits, or municipalities.
But they're still licensed if they're still going through the LSP process, right? So they're active
Right.
LSPs, they're just not opining.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's another piece, Patrick, that we can kind of look into, like employment and kind of seeing what the actual LSP practice looks like. You know, if it's private sector, NGO, non-governmental organization, state. So we can kind of drill down with regards to those types of pieces of information, kind of see what the landscape looks like. Thank you for that. We'll follow up. All right. So I'm going to ask for Matt to provide us to introduce this petition for waiver. It's a waiver that was received on October 4th. The LSP is petitioning the board to extend his license expiration by 90 days due to family medical issues. I'd like for Matt to give us a little bit more information on this.
Sure. Chris, can you call it up on the screen? Petition for waiver number 7880.
Is he eligible for one? Why does he
Well,
have to
that's
request?
what
I
we
don't
need. I
understand.
think that's where we need the
Sorry to
information, because I
cut you
had the
off.
same question.
What was the question?
Is he eligible for one? Why doesn't he just apply for one?
I think, well,
A 90-day
we
extension?
should talk about the difference between personal medical or family
So are
medical.
you asking whether he should apply for 90-day extension?
Right.
Yeah.
Why
He doesn't have the credits. It sounds like he doesn't have the credits, the minimum of 36.
Why don't you
Okay.
take a run?
Oh, okay.
Why don't you take a run at it?
That explains it.
Is this it, Matt?
Yes.
Yep, that's it. So last week, this came in as petition. And we haven't had a chance to speak with the LSP about any other facts or anything other than what you see in the letter. I'm requesting a 90-day extension on his license, indicating additional time needed to get education credits. And his reasoning is unforeseen family medical issues prevented him from completing the education requirements. So this goes back to the petition, historical petitions that the board has considered over the years. And one of them from last March 2022, a similar situation where an LSP had a family, had to take care of a family member who was ill. And that was initially brought to the board at the March 8th, 2022 board meeting. Tabled, and then it was voted on in April 26, 2022. The precedent at that point, it was discussed that LSPs would be given a waiver if it was a health issue for themselves. But there's a distinction between that and a medical issue of a family member or close friend. So with that,
Does it matter how long to me, it would matter how long the medical issue had existed, that would prevent him, well, because there's a lot of credits that you could have gotten in the intervening 2 years, like, let's say, before a medical issue arises. I mean, I can understand in the last few months, you have 4 credits or 8 credits left to get. But what was he doing for the previous years? Or was this like a years-long medical issue?
Yeah, we don't have any other information.
No, that's-
It's a petitioner.
How many credits are they short?
They didn't say.
We should get all of that information.
So
Okay.
I guess my question, does it seem like after 90 days, then they feel they can do this for the 90 days?
Yeah,
whatever
that was
credit
gonna be
is?
my question. Can they realistically even do it in 90 days if they're short a lot?
I mean, is that kind of what they're, feel like
That's
they
what
can do?
the request is, so it seems like that'd be the assumption that they just need 90 more days to get the credits.
How many credits are we looking at, Matt?
You don't know.
We don't know how many they have.
He needs to put all that information in, like how many credits he needs and why he isn't just applying for the 90-day extension. It may be because he doesn't have the 36 necessary, but that does factor into how reasonable it is that he didn't get them in whatever period of time. The period of time that he's talking about having not had the chance to get them. I mean, it's perfectly reasonable to have things happen and you can't get them, but I think we need more information.
So I just want to say, That's perfectly fine. We will pursue that information, but just, again, there's a reason why we're expending time. The board is expending time compiling these decisions. And just, again, throwing it out there, just for the record, that there was a board member or two that felt very strongly that the precedent was only for LSPs with their own health issues. Maybe this,
The case in the past.
this is a decision that's a year and a half ago.
But
So
I
recent.
think that there have been times when it has been a family member issue, I thought.
Understood. I'm just, again, I'm not a voting member, as you know. I'm just basically, again, expressing to you that the board voted, that was the emphasis added on that particular piece. For all we know, that's immaterial. After we get some information, it would be immaterial whether it's themselves or a family member, if in fact, they're very close to, it's only a few credits and within the reason of 90 days that may work out, then this becomes really immaterial in terms of the family.
And the biggest thing is that, because he didn't say it, and we don't know how many credits he needs, is that the reason he's not requesting through the traditional channel?
It would have to be, because if you had 36 or more, you would just go through the same avenue as.
Unless he doesn't know.
Yeah.
For some reason.
I think we should table it and request for additional information.
Now, in terms of tabling it, his license expires October 30th.
Yes.
So,
So it's gonna go inactive.
well, we haven't done that before. If somebody has a petition from the board, we've kept them active until the board
Right, yeah.
votes on it, so. I mean, you could,
We can still ask for the information as soon as you have a chance,
Yeah.
right, to get it. We can extend it to the November board meeting, I guess, right?
And then they will remain on active status until the
Until we
board
make a
votes.
decision.
November
Okay.
14th is the next board meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're essentially granting a waiver for a month.
And one would hope that he's
That's
doing
it.
everything he can in the interim to get all of his credits, because of the soils conference, there's, there's
There's a
online
lot of
stuff.
credits out there.
There's plenty
Yeah.
of chances to get credits in the intervening time, and if
Yeah.
by any chance he even, I mean, I think he could come close.
Is Mr. Clark? Okay.
No, he's not on.
Okay.
And although I sympathize with a family medical issue, ones in the past that we've approved, they provided a lot more gory details, which was very upsetting, but
But it's
it
reasonable.
was convincing. And I'm not saying this person has to do that, but a little bit more information.
I believe the language is for good cause shown, and you have
Yeah.
to show the cause. I mean,
Exactly.
and just saying, I have a family medical issue. We have requested, I know, we have requested information that was more specific.
Okay.
Like, you don't have to say what it is, but you have to have some documentation that it's real.
So
Some
in terms of,
documentation of what?
Well, just what,
We got medical
we
records
got
once.
bid, we did.
It was, yeah.
Not medical, I mean, it was like, you have a doctor saying, yeah.
I was gonna
this
say,
person really couldn't do
I
this.
don't believe the board wants to be
No.
the custodian of medical records. That's just.
No,
I don't mean that. It was more like an opinion.
It was like a doctor says, this person can't drive to, it was back when horses were, you had to drive to.
Yep.
And it was like, the person can't drive.
Right, so again, just to state that the board action on 3.8 was board denied petition as good cause not accepted. Board indicates illness of others, not a good cause to approve petition. Precedent is only for LSPs with their own health issues. I'm just, again, putting that out there. So why don't we just contact the LSP, try to better understand the sets of facts and circumstances, and we will keep the license active until we get together again November 14. So Chris, we're not gonna
I'll take care of it.
take care of it. Just
in
keep
terms of,
those channels open.
in terms of the medical issue, I'm not going to ask questions about it, but I'm going to indicate they have to provide more information for the board to vote.
You can ask why it prevented him, how long it existed, because I think that's the critical piece is, how long did this condition exist? To explain why he didn't get the 36 credits or
I'll ask
whatever,
that.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
and explain to him the situation and why we're asking.
Yeah.
And it sounds like, moving beyond the individual cases with the research and the board, we're trying to establish a more consistent approach to applying the
that's it.
waiver. Is that the goal here?
Yeah, it is. And I think, whether it's of this particular board or how, in my experience with Mass DEP, how we go about enforcing. There's got to be a consistent pattern. And that's why we have a forum that really strives to ensure it's like, oh, this case is similarly situated to this other case. And I think that's important because otherwise we never want to have a board that is just spin the wheel and however you feel that day, that's how you're voting. So we are going to be very judicious about going back to these tapes all the way through, I think like COVID times, 2020, we have the record. And then prior to that, it was meeting minutes that would have reflected how the petition went. So we will strive to pull that together.
I'd like to ask a question. We just granted someone a 90-day extension. Did we ask that person any of these questions we're going to ask? This is a petition for waiver, though, not a 90-day extension request.
Yeah, there has to be a reason he worded it the way he did because, and I suspect, I don't know why else he would not apply for a 90-day extension.
If he's not aware of the 90-day extension,
Then you'll
I'll
find out.
definitely notify him. He has 36 credits. It'll be in the next docket
The
for that.
request, it's to show cause, right? So like the
Right.
question should be, hey, the board needs a little more information to show cause to grant
That's
the waiver.
right.
That's, I mean,
And make
general
sure that,
question, right?
and to make sure that they're aware of what the requirements are for a 90-day extension. Maybe they're, who knows?
Right.
Great point.
That's right.
It's up to them to prove it and
Provide the,
yeah.
And I would, explain the sections where it says, for good cause shown, well, we need to see the good cause, we need to see the circumstances in terms of timing, we need to see this. Why didn't you, how many credits do you have?
Yep.
Because if he has like 12 credits, then that's a whole different story than if
That's
he
right.
has just like 35.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. We'll definitely follow up on this week. We know that, for example, the AHS conference is coming up. That's one that gives a lot of opportunity for DEP credits.
Well, that's,
That's what's
if you can get there. But
yeah. Okay.
I mean, at some point, it'd be interesting to come back to this question about whether you should only be eligible for your own personal illness or for another family member. And I only ask that because, or I only put it out there for future conversation, because when I think about sick leave policies that most of us have at our work, those are both applied to your own illness as well as family member illnesses for good reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel it, I don't think that was ever a distinction that was made. Like, in other words, if your wife was sick, and, assuming LSP's a male for some reason, I don't know why. But that would have been good cause shown. If your family member needs care.
So do we know if the regulation is silent on that or?
It doesn't say.
It leaves it to the board.
It's
judgment.
good cause shown. And so good cause could be taking care of a family member. That if you're, family member.
Understood. And, this is a generation that's taking care of everybody.
Right.
So we get it. Again, I think these were the tape words, not ours. So I just want to put that out there, and maybe that was a different set of circumstances, but this is what, at the end, how the board voted based on this.
And I think, to Gail's point, if you go further back and we see similar cases, you're going to see some variation in how the board voted. And I think at the end of the day, especially for these petitions for waiver, I mean, every situation is going to be a little bit different. And, the board just has to use this judgment. I mean, it's helpful to know what the past precedents are, but that doesn't mean that that's going to be the way we're going to go on any individual case.
In that respect too, board members change throughout the years, so your opinions might change based on a past case, or certain situations in society might change. Like you said, more people caring for other people than paid time off for the care for family members. Things do change over time.
We have had situations where it was the mother was ill and the person had to travel to take care of the mother and just couldn't be in the state, whatever. There were other circumstances that was listened to.
I'd like a motion to table, keep his license active until we get more information, till the next meeting.
Yes. Yeah, that's the path forward for sure. So thank you for aligning that. And Patrick,
Motion.
I'm good.
please.
Second.
Say it.
Thank you.
Do we need to vote on the motion to table? I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead.
David already moved and second, there was something, no, Kirk moved, David second, so now it's just vote.
Okay, so the vote goes to tabling until we get further information, and ideally a decision to be made at the November 14th. Is that what I'm hearing from?
Yes, with the note that the license will remain active until.
That is correct. Okay, so David,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes,
Patrick,
Yes.
and Jamie.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We will reach back to the LSP, get the information and summarize it, and continue to work on this compilation of board votes on waiver petitions as far back as we can. And what we might do for sure in November, when we have a final draft so we can share with the board members, and, you know, at least you can kind of see how the tea leaves kind of look based on the cases in the past. Okay, so item number 11, examination committee matters. Why don't we just note that we are poised to have the LSP exam, looks like November for sure, the 1st and the 2nd, and maybe November 3rd. And that's because thus far we have 18.
Yeah, we might need a third day. Yeah, correct.
Awesome.
FYI.
I was hoping that wasn't the
Chris
case.
feels happy. So we can accommodate up to 10 people per day, but we don't want to be cutting it too close. So maybe a little bit more comfortable having 888 or 666.
Yeah.
So we'll be doing that at the DEP Central Region office. We're ready to go. So looking forward to a good showing. Any comments, questions from the board members?
Just a note that in light of what we've just been talking about with the number of retirements and also the uptick in demand for the exam, it's really going to put the pressure on to make sure we have a new exam ready to go next year.
Yeah. Yes, which gets us into the next one. You will be probably getting invitation by the end of October to kind of start having the first pass on the exam committee. So right now, we have 6 board members that are part of the exam committee. Board staff, John Fitzgerald, DEP Northeast Region, and Chris Borges. So just to confirm, should we go into this confirmation?
The list? Yeah, you can say the list.
So David Austin, Greg McBride, Paul McKinley, Gail Batchelder, Kirk Franklin, and Patrick Herron. That's what I have. So the idea would be to basically start moving forward with creation of a new exam, and then refreshing, making sure that the questions that we have and the answers for the questions, the answers for the questions that we currently have, they're up to speed and up to date, and it's current with the practice.
Yeah, so maybe what we should do, I mean, for me, because I'm not an LSP, I don't know this, is probably review the revisions and get very familiar with all the revisions so we know what kinds of things are likely to change.
Yeah, so recall that Elizabeth Callahan, Assistant Commissioner, gave us a little bit of a teaser, kind of like, this is what's she previewed for us,
Yeah.
what it's looking like. And I thought that there was going to be an association meeting devoted to the MCP changes. Is that correct?
I don't know.
No?
There's gonna be DEP training.
Training.
obviously.
Yeah.
We need it
Like,
sooner.
Yeah,
We
I
need
understand. And I think she was amenable to
it.
doing whatever we needed to do. So we will circle back. I'm sorry.
It was a question about getting the regs. I don't even know where I can find like the red line strike out.
Oh, it's on the website, the DEP website.
It's online
Oh,
under
yeah.
under the
Yeah.
regs.
New regs and red lines right out of there.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
They're already there, and I think that was sort of the plan, so that the Bureau wanted to make sure that people knew this is coming, and promulgation date, it's 14 March 2024.
Yeah. March.
Is that?
Or committee's looking at the exam, I also wonder if there's not a opportunity to look at if some of the questions might be impacted by our own reg changes.
Oh, the possible one, but we can't until.
Well, we
the
can't
final
change
date,
the
so it
text,
doesn't-
but I'm just
Oh,
saying.
we
you
flag
might
them
wanna-
for future reference.
that's
As we
the-
go through every single question, we can
Just-
flag and say, at
just
some
might
point,
wanna
we're
make a
gonna
note.
have to go back.
Yeah.
So that's a good point.
Agreed. So, we have a competition of things between the exam committee and the regulations committee. We need to talk about that as well.
I just want to clarify though, that we have 3 exams.
We do.
We just needed to get a 4th for
Correct.
someone who may fail all 3.
That is correct.
So we have 3 for next year, and what we really need to do is 50% of the questions that are regulatory, those are the ones we have to go through and
That's
compare
correct.
to the MCP changes.
That's
And
all.
that's really going to dictate if we have exams in June or not.
That's correct. So we want to get a start ASAP, which we'll see what we can do in
Right.
terms of.
I would check the regulatory questions first before
Right.
dealing with a 4th exam.
Okay, so we can do that.
Yeah, because the thing is, we can't give an exam on old regs once the new regs are being used, right?
Exactly.
So it's gonna be hard to do an exam in June when the regs only come into effect in March. So realistically, it might be that we only have an exam for next November or whatever.
Mhm.
And that's fine. I mean, that meets our obligation, but we will have plenty of time to go through each of the exams for the regulatory piece. And I don't think there are any technical questions that say, and we'll go through all of them to make sure. We should be okay.
Okay, so that should be the first order. Check the regulatory questions, make sure that they are in good standing, if not, change them, and then maybe create a few new questions. All right, so seeing that today is the 10th, we'll probably maybe right after the exam,
Yeah, so probably in November.
middle of November, because then
Oh,
we get into
okay,
the
yeah.
holidays, so right before Thanksgiving. So let's see if we can,
Give you guys a break
Organize.
of a week and then the week after,
Yeah.
before Thanksgiving.
yeah, organize. The good news, it's electronic, so we'll be able to just administer the test, and then we can think about getting together again.
And we don't have to, I mean, in terms of the exam committee, we can do that online. It's nicer to get together and do it, but we can,
We can do virtual.
Yeah.
Okay, so
unless you want to host.
mid-November for the exam committee members, will be getting a note from us.
Well, with that
there's another
scheduling,
one.
I mean, next board meeting, November 14th. They want to consider folks coming in earlier in the morning if they wanted to do it in person.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there now. We don't have to decide now, but.
That's a possibility. Okay, we'll send a poll. I also wanted to report that this is sort of almost like old business, but we had an individual who challenged 2 of the questions, and the LSP exam candidate again challenged to exam questions. The exam committee, LSP exam committee members met. We reviewed the challenged exam questions. After discussion and deliberation, the committee concluded that the current responses to the challenge questions were correct, and therefore the challenge of these questions was denied. So I just wanted to report that. This is sort of all business, closing the loop. Again, we noted the committee wants to meet as soon as possible, so let's look forward to getting together in mid-November 2023. Okay, along those lines, the regulations committee report, we met.
Oh, there wasn't a meeting?
We've been basically compiling every single
Okay.
file that we have.
Yeah,
And
so
the purpose of that is to basically bring you one version.
red line, strikeout.
Red line, strikeout.
I'm halfway there.
It's halfway there. But we're getting there. So the idea again is to come to you with the red line strikeout version. But most importantly, I just wanted to double check on the individuals that I have as part of the regulations committee, and recall that these committees is really to kind of move things along, and then they would come back to the full board. So if you're not in a committee, don't feel bad. If you really want to be part of the committee, let us know. We can accommodate that. I have, for the regulations committee, I have Kathy Campbell, Greg McBride, Paul McKinley, Craig Ellis. Gail, are you in that committee?
Yes.
I'm on it as well.
Yeah, Jamie's.
On regulations?
Yeah,
Yep, he is.
yeah.
That's what I have on the regulations.
Mostly it's been almost everybody because we've been doing it at 12 just before the board meeting.
Mhm.
I thought we were gonna try to make it a smaller committee to meet separately to kind of churn through the regulations revisions quicker.
So it's up to you guys. I mean, the other thing is Jonah is going to be an integral part of this review because there's so much embedded with Priscilla. So she's part of it.
I mean, from what I recall, we've basically gone through the entire regulations once at this point. So once we have everything compiled, I mean, shouldn't it just be a matter of kind of doing a final review? And
Not really, because Priscilla was sort of unknown, and there's a lot of information from Priscilla that's weaved in, particularly I want to say section 2 has a lot.
Yeah, notices, how we send out notices.
No, absolutely. I know that there's some newer wrinkles that we have to make sure get included, but just in terms
I
of.
mean, but professional conduct,
The substantive
all the
changes.
dispute resolution stuff is going to be whatever we changed it to. So there's a lot of sections that aren't going to be changing. And so we could do those sections separately from anything that's going to actually require new writing. Because those are done theoretically.
Okay, well, I tell you what, why don't we share the red line strikeout, and we can just take the pulse from the board members and you let me know, how it's looking.
Yeah, but I think if we all agree, right? I mean, I think we agree that we sort of said we were done. Now we could go back because it all took place, some of it took place 3-4 years ago. But I think there are sections that are probably done. And we could say, once we see the red line strikeout, go through it one more time, say, yep, we're good with section 7, we're good with section 6, we're good with section 4. Because none of those have anything to do with.
I mean, I'll tell you, ideally, the way I like to see regulations, they should read like a book, right? So start to finish, because you have definitions that are going to be weaved in. So we will strive to give you the whole thing. And ideally, it would be good to kind of go in chrono order. And if you remember 3 or 4, actually 5 years ago, maybe actually 4 years ago, we had Ann Lowry give a presentation with regards to what happens after the board finalizes, our proposal. Then it goes through a whole set of public hearings. It will probably navigate through the site cleanup committee, PSAC. I don't know if that's called that anymore, but basically is, we would present, we can give a presentation in that forum if that's something that the assistant commissioner wants us to do, to bring about that awareness that these regulations affect the licensed ag professionals because it's the guiding principles for how they get licensed. So, and then, they would go through secretary, going through ENF, and then to Gov's office.
So there's a
there's
public hearings. The last time we did this, we had public hearings in a couple of different offices, like regions.
Yeah, and that's how it's
Because you
typically
kind of
done.
need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah, we usually have 2 or 3 hearings.
I think the first step is get the red line struck out to the board members and then go see what happens, how long it takes you to kind of go through and, we want to make sure it's efficient and not too time consuming.
Exactly.
If we think that the bulk of the remaining changes are related to what we need to do to accommodate the online stuff in the Acela platform, I mean, does it make sense for Matt, are you in consultation with the tech team to like flag sections that?
Well, yeah, we'll highlight what we think has to be updated.
Yeah,
And hopefully it's just what you're talking about and everything else has already been vetted and we can just quickly just go through it. And,
exactly.
yeah.
I was gonna say, you don't necessarily need board members to come up with the proposed language, right? We don't.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
this is,
draft something for you to review and
That's what I'm
consider.
thinking.
yeah, and this is more just technical, so it's not really, yeah, I think that would work.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I think these regulations go back to what, 2009? Before that?
I don't remember the last public hearing.
Well,
So long ago.
So a lot has changed since.
And
And
you know, it's great. Alan Pierce did it.
Yeah, well, the good news is it's, they're an inch thick, so it's not too much. But I think, again, we've made some strides with regards to talking about DEP courses. How many DEP courses are needed? The honors is and getting all these credits, maybe just less DEP credits in order to ensure that we are cognizant of the fact we don't always have a DEP course out there available for LSPs that need it immediately on demand. So, no, it's all good. I think we will be poised to give you a red line strike out, and then we can just make sure that we move in the direction of feeling comfortable for them to navigate through EEA. And Secretary Cooper's with us, so I think.
Form of EEA.
So great. So thank you so much. I think so. We don't have anything else on the regulations committee except that I have affirmed that we have a few members. If you're in here, your name, give us a call if you want to be part of it. I do recognize that the old format used to have the meetings starting at 12 o'clock, and we can do that if you wish. Otherwise, we can kind of just, everybody goes home, they review the regs as they are, they come back and basically inform how you want to move in what direction, if you just want to move forward with decisions made from the past.
Or it could be virtual. The regulations committee could be virtual.
Yeah, great idea. Okay, why don't we then pause before we get into the continuing education committee report outs, and then we have some other business that I wanted to talk to you all about. So,
Yeah, and I absolutely don't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, you're not.
But I just, my name's Stephanie Cooper. I'm the Undersecretary for Environment. I know some of you, but not all. And I wanted to, while you were convened today and some of you were here in the building, just come say hello on behalf of the Secretary, but more importantly, to say thank you for all that you are doing to help the Commonwealth continue this very successful program. That it's a really important part of our environmental mission. I was reminded about the upcoming celebration of the 30th anniversary of the privatized waste site cleanup program, which is, in the history of, environmental success stories in the Commonwealth, it's pretty high on the list. And so just want you to know that, the role of this board is so important in continuing that. And I could tell just from walking in the room that, this is a roll up your sleeves working kind of board. So I recognize that you're all putting in a lot of time and effort, and we just really appreciate that. The board is, or the program is going through a transition in terms of staffing, and, how many hats can Millie wear? I guess we're testing out that theory. She needs her own separate hat rack. But we're making our way through that so that we have, permanent dedicated leadership for the board. I do want to recognize the staff too, who are doing a great job, and staff from DEP too, who are, pitching in to just continue to support the effort during this time. So that is really what I wanted to say.
I'm so
and
glad
happy
you're
if anybody has, questions or anything you want to make sure that we're thinking about. I'm happy to hear that too.
Absolutely. We're so grateful that you're here, Undersecretary, and, a good friend of DEP in your,
Proud alum.
yeah,
Yes.
serving as a commissioner, and it's wonderful to have you now at the Secretariat. This is Natasha, this is Matt.
Yes.
If you want to go around real quick and state where you work.
Yeah, sure. Paul McKinley. I'm an LSP with Weston and Sampson.
Patrick Karen, Mr. Scuba Watershed Association.
Yeah, Bachelor, I'm in the hydrogeologist position for the boards.
David Austin, LSP at AECom.
Jamie Smith, I'm at the City of Boston, labor slot.
Craig Ellis, LSP with Beta Group.
Chris Borges, DEP, BWFC, just help out with the.
Yes, you're among the folks who are helping to keep things going.
I'm Diane Baxter, also BWSC.
Yes.
Well, the Secretary, I thank you so much for your making time out of your busy schedule. I know how busy you are. This is a really hard-working board, and I also want to acknowledge the many members of the public that also view these meetings, and also the big plug for the revenue group, who has been instrumental. Valerie Walker, Tina Smith, terrific additions to, as of late, always and forever, but especially as of late, helping us reconcile a lot of information, and especially Tina and Val and Barbara White, instrumental in getting all the information at a glance that we need so we can move forward. So very grateful also to the association, the LSP Association, and they will be having an upcoming annual meeting. So that's really great celebration. So
They are part of the long-term success of this program too,
For sure.
very much so.
terrific. So thank you so much. I mean, you're welcome to stay. We're going to go into the continuing education. We're probably like 10 minutes away, I think, from ending our meeting. If you want to get a little bit of a taste for what we have, and then we will be meeting next in November.
November 14th.
November 14th. Okay, so with that, David.
I'll let you wrap up just because
Yeah.
with you with your hats, I managed to triple book myself, but I just wanted to make sure that I could at least say hello and thank you while you were convened today.
Thank
So
you,
appreciate-
Undersecretary. So
all the
appreciate
work.
it.
Thank you for coming.
All right, good
Thanks.
luck.
Thank
Good luck
you.
with the meeting.
Take care.
Appreciate it. All right, thank you. All right, David,
So the
if you want to begin.
continuing ed committee met today. We approved 4 courses. And we're going to meet again in November.
Okay,
Motion to
So-
approve the recommendations of the continuing ed committee?
Second.
okay. David,
I'm a yes.
Greg,
Yes?
Paul,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Jamie.
Yes.
Motion carries. Professional Conduct Committee report out.
Yeah, we just met briefly, talked a little bit about the 05C07 that's currently with the Attorney General's office. The remaining cases are mostly pending the assignment of the staff attorney, so we didn't take any action that requires a board vote.
Correct. Okay, so moving on to item 15, which is other business, personnel and budget. As I stated, we're looking to move forward. We extended an offer, so we're looking forward to just closing out the loop, as you know, references, et cetera. So all that is at play right now. We hope to have someone on board very soon. And we're also moving forward with the executive director position. So hoping that by the new year, you will have someone that will be tasked with ensuring that we have, continuing on the leadership and all the great work that you guys are doing right now. So remain level funded. Looking forward to board staff, myself included, also attending the AHS conference.
Yeah.
We would like to get a sense for what this could work and how it kind of plays out. There's a proposal for continuing ed. We talk about it, and really important to have staff go out there and learn about what it looks like post-vote. So excited that Natasha and Matt will be able to attend this year's conference. So that's really good. LSP board member reappointments. So that's where I'm begging for your help. We have it in a prominent place that we're looking for a non-LSP board slot. Thus far, I have not received any expression of interest from anyone thus far. So if you think about any of your colleagues that might be interested in serving on this board, here's a plea for, again, the non-LSP slot that's still open out there.
It has to be somebody affiliated with an environmental group
That's correct.
somehow. I mean, it doesn't have to be a leader of an environmental group. It
Right,
has
just
to be
affiliation.
connected, right?
Right. And the way you express your interest, the person would actually send us the resume. And I would probably work with Under Secretary Cooper just to vet the person. If there's a interview process, and then from there, it's a recommendation that's made one way or another. So spread the word. That's the key on that one. And then finally, as I have mentioned, we are in the final stages of trying to reshuffle some of the responsibilities from this individual that is poised to serve as chair. And I'm really excited. It's a great person. So hopefully that will be forthcoming in the month of November. So looking forward to that.
So November, we would have the chair
Yes.
here.
Yes, that's fine. That's my hope. Okay, so with that, any questions from members of the board or?
So would this be your last meeting if that's the case?
I would finish out in November.
Okay.
And then, usually December is sort of a,
It's an off month.
month, we're sort of pulling things together. So I'm hoping that you will get new ED, new chair, new year.
But you still need to be the executive director until we find a new one, correct?
Correct, but that's at play right now. So we're trying to figure it out. And I think there's traction, so. More to come.
We don't want to lose you, that's all.
I'll join in over the phone.
That's right. You can be the public.
There you go. I can ask questions. Great. Well, thank you so much. I think we've got it. Future meeting, November 14. As I stated, we're going to probably stay with GoToWebinar. Just easier. We usually pay a month in advance, so it's.
Or hybrid, right here and.
Have it right here. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all and having more updates on all these various things that we talked about today. So with that, I'd like to adjourn this meeting at 1:41 p.m. Thank you.
There's something